My husband and I got married last fall. His father passed away a long time ago, and him and his mom have an unhealthy relationship. He always pacifies her, and when she doesn't get her way, she throws a temper tantrum. We also live with her in her house, and with quarantine, I never get a break from her. My husband and
Mm,
I have talked about starting a family next year, but there's no way we can do that while living with my mother in law. We've talked about moving out after quarantine, but I'm not sure how serious my husband is about it. Now, whenever I bring up us moving out, my husband gets mean and brings up divorce. What should I do?
mm,
My heart has palpitation just typing this. I'm so
uh,
overwhelmed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can feel just the angst and the fear
Right?
around facing such a challenging situation,
So
and
much
it's
anxiety.
complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, tons of anxiety because it's a complex situation. That it is normal when you have a kind of a widow type situation or a single mom kind of situation for there to be a special closeness and relationship between mom and child, mom and son in this case, and that there's just a leaning on or looking to a older child for support and emotional support as you're going through the struggle of trying to figure out um, life in that really challenging and difficult circumstance. And so it's a really common thing for there to be a special and a close relationship that's there that can create uh, conflict and tension when we move into marriage. That there's a healthy and good, right expectation for a wife in a marriage relationship to be the number one woman in her husband's life, and for that relationship to be special and separate and set apart and put ahead of all other kind of relationships in a person's life. But that can be a really painful and difficult transition with a lot of guilt and shame and fear that's a part of it for a husband in that situation. And so it can be really difficult as a wife to get in the shoes of a husband that's in that situation because what you can see on your side is the pain that it causes you. And it's hard to see past your pain to what's going on the other side. So part of the trickiness of it is being able to hold both sides of that, to be able to recognize the validity of your want for your husband's allegiance and for his support, and him to recognize and care about how the relational dynamics there affect you and affect the relationship between the two of you, for that to matter to him and him to prioritize figuring out how to navigate those dynamics with his mother in order to have a healthy relationship with you, that's totally valid and good. I want to affirm that for you, and to recognize it's not as simple as you need to leave and cleave, right? You know, that you're too close to your mother, that or kind of attacking what's a really complex and difficult dynamic there. That if you haven't lived it, you haven't walked that journey with folks, it can be difficult to understand. So there's a need to have grace with him as well. And as with, you know, pretty much everything that we ever talk about, you're not going to be able to get through that without good community in your life, right? That you need to be able to have some women in your life that you can process the pain and the struggle that you're experiencing, both peers who have a good relationship with their husband, whom you can kind of spur each other on to godliness and just kind of be there for one another, as well as mentors who are old enough to be your mom but are not your mom, that can that have a great relationship with their husband, who can speak wisdom into your life and situation as one who's walked the road ahead of you. And your husband needs that as well, but you don't have the power to make him engage that or build that into his life. And so you're going to have to trust the Holy Spirit to bring conviction and lead into truth and help him get connected with those that could provide that sort of community and support for him. If you're uh, given the complexities of the situation, it's totally valid for you to engage therapy and counseling on your own also. Like sometimes we think, oh, my spouse isn't willing to do that. And so I'm just kind of stuck. But in reality, you can engage therapy and counseling around issues like this on your own. You can come in and go, hey, I've got this relationship dynamic. My spouse isn't ready to engage, but I'm trying to figure out how should I show up? How should I navigate this? And a therapist that has worked with these kinds of situations will be able to help you have perspective that you're not able to have on your own. Understand ways in which you might be sabotaging yourself, because almost 100%, I can't think of a single case that I've worked with or a couple that I've come alongside. There's not self-sabotaging happening where we want for this desired outcome in our relationship, but the way we're going about it in part is sabotaging the very thing that we want, pushing us further away from the closeness that we're trying to cultivate with our spouse. So having a therapist that can kind of hold up a mirror for you and go, you may not realize this, but this is actually not so helpful. It's actually probably get you further away from what it is you want that helps you out. That can be a really valuable part of the equation as well.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's really helpful. I think what kind of sticks out to me most in this question is just, when she tries to communicate it with her husband, he
hmm
gets mean and brings up divorce. How do you
hmm
even start the conversation if that's his, knee jerk response?
Yeah, those are kind of power plays of sorts in relationship, right? It's a really healthy and dynamic to threaten abandonment whenever the topics come up that are uncomfortable for me or that I don't, I want to avoid kind of engaging. And so I'll pull a power play and threaten abandonment and go nuclear kind of on the relationship in order to get you to not bring up or engage the whatever it is that I'm looking
Right, which
to
can be,
avoid.
unhealthy individually and then also just relationally.
Yeah, totally. And so you have to have, again, the support in your corner to be able to stand up against that. That if you don't have the emotional support to be able to go, you know what, I don't want to be divorced, but I also want to have a relationship where we can talk about things, no matter what they are. And
Mhm.
I'm not going to cave and I'm not going to fold because you threatened to abandon. That's not what love does. That's not how I'm going to engage. And I'm not going to relate to you out of fear that you're going to leave me. That I'm not going to not address or things that are unhealthy in the relationship between us because of power plays like that. But you're never going to be able to stand up like that without good emotional support standing behind you in that. If you're trying to go that alone, you'll fold every time because none of us has the strength in ourself without support to be able to navigate those things.